Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow. That's a little bit.
We are all delighted that you've been able to join us for this virtual conference. What's not the same as being together in person? I hope you agree with me that it's a million times better than not being together at all. The theme of this conference is Clubhouse is now more than ever. Wow, is that ever true? These are tough times for everyone. Our clubhouses are trying to figure out how to keep our communities socially connected, even while we stay safely, physically distanced from each other. Our country is reeling from the pandemic and also from deep destructive divisiveness that continues to pervade our culture. We've been faced with floods, fires, hurricanes, and droughts. Everyone is anxious. And for those of us who are living with mental illness, we're particularly anxious. But as the theme of our conference says, Clubhouse now more than ever, we need each other and we need our Clubhouse communities. In spite of all these very real challenges we're facing, our clubhouses continue to be the places where we know we will always be welcome no matter what. Our clubhouses are safe havens, places where we know we will be accepted for who we are and for what we can contribute, regardless of our diagnosis, our beliefs, our politics, or the color of our skin, or our age, our gender, or our sexual orientation. We know that our clubhouse communities will reach out to us, support us with our basic needs, and care about what happens to each of us. Where else is this true? In this time when so many people are being excluded from society and discriminated against because of their belief or their appearances or their history, our clubhouse communities stand as a beacon of inclusion, welcome, opportunity, and belief in the potential of each and every one of us. So yeah, Clubhouse, now more than ever. It's also good to know that even while here, extraordinary challenges in this moment of history, there is also a silver lining. During these difficult times, the world is finally beginning to pay attention to the needs of people living with mental illness. In today's plenary session, we're going to hear from an array of speakers who will shine a light of hope that is currently opening up and some of the ways we are on the cusp of a new beginning with new opportunities for clubhouses and for all of us trying to live meaningful and productive lives while living with mental illness. Our first speaker is the U.S. Senator Debbie Stepnow. Senator Stepnow represents the state of Michigan and is one of the strongest voices in Congress. She has long been known for her ardent support of mental health issues. She is a champion of the cause of increasing and expanding mental health services across the country. Senator Stepnow is a supporter of clubhouses. She has a message for us as we start this plenary session.
Hello to everyone taking part in Clubhouse International's virtual conference, especially all of my friends from Michigan. And thanks to Executive Director Joel Corcoran for your leadership during a very tough time. We know this once-in-a-lifetime pandemic has changed more than just how we hold conferences, right? It's been an incredible source of hardship and a real source of stress for the majority of Americans. Add in serious economic uncertainty and the need for racial and social justice, and it's no wonder so many people are struggling right now. The good news is that Clubhouse has found a way to continue offering the really important support that helps people with mental illness thrive in our community. As Michigan's U.S. Senator, I am so proud to be your partner. I authored the amendment in the Affordable Care Act that achieved mental health parity, and I'm going to keep fighting to protect and expand the ACA and ensure that we treat health care above the neck the same as health care below the neck. As you know, we've made another important step forward with my Bipartisan Excellence in Mental Health Act that I introduced with my friend Senator Roy Blunt, which was originally signed into law in 2014 so we could get started putting things together. And it's one of the most significant steps forward in creating permanent community mental health funding. Frankly, that's in our country's history. We have 10 states now that are receiving comprehensive funding, including robust Medicaid support, and we're funding startup grants across the country. And I'm dedicated to creating permanent funding for certified community behavioral health centers, just like we have for our great community health centers, in every state as soon as possible. You know, as we head into Election Day, I really encourage all of you to make your voices heard and to support candidates who support better access to health care, including mental health and addiction services. You and your family deserve nothing less. So thanks for all you do to support one another and to create a community where everyone matters. And enjoy the rest of the conference.
And next, I'd like to introduce Andrew Sperling. Since 1994, Andrew has been the Director of Legislative Affairs and Public Policy for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. He also oversees NAMI's federal policy agenda in Congress and before federal agencies. He also serves as a consumer representative to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners and as co-chair of the Consortium for Citizens with Disabilities Housing Task Force. Andrew is a great friend to the Clubhouse and Clubhouse International.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be joining all of you today. It's a shame it's not in person. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we've been going through over the last 6 months and how we can come out of this better and stronger. But I want to reiterate NAMI's support nationally and all our 600 state and local organizations for the work that you do in your clubhouses every single day. I'm sure there are a lot of NAMI members out there listening in because local NAMI organizations work very closely with the clubhouse. In fact, there are a number of clubhouses around the country that were started by NAMI members. So NAMI supports has always strongly supported the clubhouse movement. We recognize there's a lot more to a person's journey living with a disorder like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or major depression than just taking their medications and being clinically stable. It's about a real life in the community, peer support, employment, all the things that make recovery possible that you do in your clubhouses every single day. And we thank you for the work you do. So we know this last 6 months has been very, very difficult. We know that social isolation experienced by people living with mental illness can be toxic. And we know that the in-person contact you get at a clubhouse every day is absolutely essential to recovery. And we've lost that over the last 6 months. And there's been enormous struggles. We know that there have been enormous struggles for people with mental illness that live in congregate settings, which is very, very difficult to follow the CDC guidelines on physical separation. And when someone who has a pre-existing mental illness, when they're exposed to the virus, we know the outcomes are worse. They are more likely to have the comorbid chronic medical conditions that lead to horrific outcomes. And we're very, very concerned that going forward, we're not going to get out of this for a while, that people with mental illness that live in congregate settings get the support they need so that they don't contract the virus and we can minimize the mortality that's experienced with this horrific disease. But we know that some good things have come out of this. What do we mean by that? Well, first of all, we know that we have all worked very, very hard to do workarounds so that we can continue to do the work we do and do it in a way that complies with CDC guidelines and physical separation and doing things virtually. I'm gonna talk a little bit about NAMI is done, but I know clubhouses have done a lot to try and move to virtual platforms using technologies like Zoom, like we're using today, other things, so that you continue to have that social connections that's so critical to the work that a clubhouse does. We at NAMI have had those same challenges, and we have been able to more or less successfully move our signature programs like NAMI Family to Family, NAMI Connections, peer support groups, education groups, support groups for families, and move them to virtual platforms so we can continue reaching people that need help, that need support groups, that need education programs. And we're going to continue to try and move forward on that. There's also some good that's come out of this in terms of people that wouldn't normally be able to travel long distances to come to meetings like this. Joel and I were talking earlier. I think this was a 1,100 people that registered for that. We had the same, this conference, we had the same experience with NAMI. We weren't able to hold our convention in July, which would have been in person in Atlanta, Georgia. We normally draw maybe 1,800, 2,000 people, paid registrants to that in-person meeting. This year we had close to 14,000 people that joined online, including people that we've never touched before that actually donated money during the conference because we were able to have waive a registration fee, and we've reached a lot more people with virtually than we would in person. So some good has come out of it. Another piece of good news, our friends at the National Council for Behavioral Health have been surveying their members, the community mental health centers, and we are seeing vast improvement in rates of treatment adherence, of very low rates of missed appointments. And we're finding that, meeting virtually, holding meetings over the phone, appointments over the phone are actually, we're seeing greater rates of adherence to treatment, which is another positive thing. So, but we know we need to get back to normal, and it's going to take a long time. And these virtual platforms are no in-person interaction, which is so critical. I was watching the slideshow that was on for the last 10 minutes. To see large groups of people like that together is something we know we haven't experienced for the last 6 months. And it just made me think, we need to get back to normal as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. And that's going to be very, very important to do. Finally, I want to end on a note, since I do legislative advocacy, talk a little bit about what Congress has been doing for the last 6 months in the midst of this pandemic. And it aligns well with the message that Senator Stabenow had about her Excellence in Mental Health Act with Senator Blunt. The CCBHC program, Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinics, that line item in the budget actually is getting more money because of this pandemic. Some of you may have been following these big economic relief packages that Congress has passed, the CARES Act from 4 months ago. There's separate Senate and House bills now. There's a HEROES Act in the House. Every single one of these bills, but in particularly the HEROES Act and the HEALS Act, which was a Senate Republican bill, all of them added money for mental health. The HEROES Act that just passed the House again last week, it added $4 billion plus an increase, a one-time increase, emergency funding for the mental health block grant program. That program is currently funded at about $734 million. So it's essentially more than 4 times the current appropriation was allocated, because we recognize that there are a lot of people out there that because of this pandemic are experiencing crisis and are in need of mental health services, both people that had a mental illness before this pandemic ever came along, and we know people that are now at elevated risk of developing anxiety or depression because of what they've been through over the last 6 months with social isolation and economic stress. So the good news is, and that bill also included $600 million increase for investment in CCBHC, Senator Stabenow's program. That's almost triple what the annual funding for that program. So mental health is getting a lot of attention in the midst of this pandemic, and that's a good thing, because I can remember years past when natural disasters, other emergencies, where mental health took a back seat. It no longer takes a back seat, and that's really because of the work that many of you do in your local communities to raise awareness and make public officials and elected officials aware of how important mental health is. So with that, I'm going to stop and look forward to the other speakers. And I want to thank everyone for attending and hope that next year we're going to be able to do this in person. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's just stop Clubhouse 1 minute. Everybody check and make sure you have mute. It's a cute little microphone. We want to make sure there's a line going through it. So I just want to give you a minute, because we're hearing some background noise and we really want to hear what's going on with these speakers. So are we all muted? If I don't hear you, that means we did it. Now that we have that little business taken care of, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Jeffrey Geller. Dr. Geller is the president of the American Psychiatric Association. He is also professor of psychiatry at the University of Massachusetts Medical School and recently served as a medical director of the Worcester Recovery Center and Hospital, a 290-bed public psychiatric hospital serving adults and adolescents. Dr. Geller spent 25 years as the director of public sector psychiatry at UMass Medical School. He is also a founding member of the Genesis Club Board of Directors, and is also on the board of Clubhouse International, the Treatment and Advocacy Center, the American Association of Community Psychiatrics, wow, and the World Federation of Mental Health. Dr. Geller.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and I am delighted to be here with all of you, far and wide. I want to talk about two things that we have been facing. One has to do with uncertainty, and one has to do with loss. Uncertainty leads to stress. Sources of uncertainty this year: COVID, right? Questions of the president's truthfulness, the president's health, quarantining and isolation, inconsistent messages from Washington about the severity, precautions. Do I need to wear a mask? Do I need to keep social distancing? The answer to those two questions are unequivocally yes. Unemployment. Can I meet my needs, my family's needs? Will I get another stimulus check? Healthcare access. If I need medical attention, will I be able to get it? Will my appointment help me if it's a virtual appointment? Mounting death rates. Could it be my mother? Could it be me? People with serious mental illness have poor outcomes. Does that apply to me? Increasing infection rates. Will we have escalating rate of infection this fall and this winter? Schools, K through 12, should they open? Should they close? This is particular burden on mothers who are to be school teachers in addition to their usual responsibilities. And colleges. How does the behavior of those college students affect me and my community? But it's beyond COVID. We have natural disasters. We have wildfires. A friend of mine from Oregon said one day it was like the sun didn't come up. We have hurricanes. We also have racism and police brutality. Am I safe walking on the street, driving my car? We have a Supreme Court vacancy. When should this seat be filled? How will this next Supreme Court judge affect me? And we have an election and a debates. Will the next president, whoever he is, be able to govern our country in an adult, responsible way? Are either of the candidates healthy enough to do the job? Look how old they are. Will we have a lawful transition of power? And the second issue that faces us is loss. Loss can lead to depression. Loss in the COVID era includes death of loved ones, death of coworkers, loss of trust, loss of income and work role, loss of ease, loss of mental acuity, loss of natural supports or severe modifications to how we interact with others in all sorts of places, including places of worship, coworkers, in recreational settings. Loss of many freedoms, like going where I want to go when I want to go there. Loss of face-to-face contact, loss of routines, loss of natural start and stop in your workday for many of you who are employed. Nothing happens at the water cooler. There are no breaks. Loss of a comprehensible national leadership, loss of faith in government, decreased safety in home with new concerns about partner abuse. This is quite a mountain to climb. But clubhouses have been an oasis for their members. First, in the dramatic transformation of clubhouses from an on-site to a virtual environment. And then to a mixed model where many clubhouses are having part of their activities virtual and some activities at the club. By providing grounding, a sense of belongingness, the continuations of a day of meaningful work, the exchange of factual information about COVID, a place for support in troubled times, opportunities to socialize. Clubhouses have been a pillar. In some, clubhouses have provided members a place where they need not feel alone. Now, I'm here representing the American Psychiatric Association, and I want to share certain aspects of the American Psychiatric Association, and I'm picking and choosing from various documents. In terms of the APA's mission statement, it includes promote the highest quality care for individuals with mental illness, including substance use disorders, and their families. APA's values include prevention, access, care, and sensitivity for patients and compassion for their families, patient-focused treatment decisions, advocacy for patients. APA's goals all fall under the heading to promote the rights and best interests of patients. Part of APA's strategic plan is educating patients, families, the public, and other practitioners about mental disorders and evidence-based treatment options. And we all know that the Clubhouse has been an accepted SAMHSA evidence-based practice since 2011. Finally, the APA just put out a revised edition of the practice guidelines for schizophrenia. In those recommendations, and there are many, are the following two: that patients with schizophrenia receive psychoeducation, and that patients with schizophrenia receive supported employment services. From what I've told you about the American Psychiatric Association, it should be apparent that APA and Clubhouse International have a significant overlap of interests. The challenge before us is to get the two to more closely work together. I need your help to do that. Invite your psychiatrist to visit your club. Tell your psychiatrist what the club helps you to accomplish. And ask your psychiatrist what he can do to help better integrate the work of psychiatrists and the work of Clubhouse. The affinity between the APA and Clubhouses can be markedly impacted by your efforts. I thank you, and it is with great respect that I salute you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to have two videos. The first video will be Dr. Ingram Daniels. Dr. Daniels is the Chief Executive Officer of the Cape Mental Health, a prominent mental health agency that includes 2 Clubhouse programs in Cape Town, South Africa. She is the president of the World Federation of Mental Health. The second video will be Elijah London. Elijah is the founder and chief executive officer of United for Global Mental Health. United is the first global organization dedicated to catalyzing global mental health. And we at Clubhouse International are partnering with both of these organizations in our World Mental Health Day efforts. And here are the videos.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ingrid Daniels and I'm President of the World Federation for Mental Health. It's wonderful to be virtually present with you today at the Clubhouse International #Mental Health for All conference. I bring you greetings from the World Federation for Mental Health as we unify our voices and strengthen our call for mass-scale investment in mental health through the partnership that we have with the Clubhouse International, the World Health Organization, and United for Global Mental Health. Together we are stronger and together we are powerful to ensure that there is greater investment. Now more than ever, we have seen how the negative consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted on the mental health of all people. Our theme this year is Mental Health for All, greater investment, greater access. And we believe that the voices of persons with lived experience are powerful and should be heard. As we call for mental health to be prioritized, we call for the mass scale investment. We want to see people access mental health services within the communities that they live. So we wish you well with the deliberations and the dialogues that you have had and will have. Thank you for inviting us and for being virtually present with you today. And through our partnership with the Clubhouse International Movement, I believe that we can no longer be ignored. I wish you well, and I wish you good health and good mental health. Take care.
Happy World Mental Health Day to everyone at Clubhouse International. Thank you for your support of the official World Mental Health Day campaign for this year, Move for Mental Health. It is time to invest in mental health. It is time to invest in organizations and initiatives like Clubhouse International that work in providing everyone, everywhere, someone to turn to when they need support with their mental health. We need to be everywhere. We need to scale up this kind of support. And that's why these advocacy campaigns are just so important. Even more important to have the experience of those with lived experience like me, like so many of you, at the forefront calling on our leaders to act. We are absolutely delighted to work with you in partnership, not only this year, but throughout all of our work together. I hope you have a great World Mental Health Day. I hope your voices are heard and that together we see leaders act and invest in the ways that need to happen to make sure everyone does have someone to turn to when they need that kind of support. Thank you for your partnership, and I look forward to seeing you again soon in person when we're able.
Wow, this is exciting. We'll finish up with Terrell Henry. Terrell is a member of the Academy at Glengarry in Sarasota, Florida. He's an advocate for the Clubhouse model and a talented singer and songwriter. After we hear from him, we will have our awesome executive director, Joel, wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. I want to thank Clubhouse International for this opportunity to tell my story and to share my music, which is a big passion of mine. I'm Terrell Henry, I'm 28, and I've been a member of my clubhouse, the Academy at Glengarry in Sarasota, Florida since May. Almost 2 years ago, someone I knew encouraged me to take a tour and check out the clubhouse's programs. She knew that I was into music and writing, and she thought that I would be able to contribute a lot. It took a while, but I finally agreed to take the tour. The clubhouse's multimedia studio definitely piqued my interest from the beginning. And then during the tour, I saw the kitchen and I was just as excited to work in the culinary team. I was surprised that there were so many different areas of interest for me. But what's even more surprising is the people I've met at my clubhouse. You know, I'm a quiet guy, I'm pretty much an introvert, and I'm not quick to trust people. I'm kind of a loner. So my motivation for joining the Academy was just to learn skills. I really didn't expect to form friendships. Let me back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about how I got here. I was in college in 2012 studying business administration, but I was already really interested in writing. At heart, I'm a storyteller. I joined a writers club and became somewhat of a leader in the group. I knew that knew what I wanted to do, and I was looking forward to my future. However, when I was in my second year of college in 2013, an incident occurred that changed my life forever. I had a psychotic break that led me to having to leave school and then eventually led me to a 3-month stay in a psychiatric hospital. I was never the same after that. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. The biggest challenge I faced with this illness is paranoia. For the longest time, if I saw two people talking, I was sure that they were talking about me and judging me. This is a big part of why it's so hard for me to trust people or to let my guard down. The next 5 years saw me pretty isolated. I lived with family, but even with them, I kept to myself. I kept busy writing, but the truth is, I was way too paranoid to venture out of the house. I took my meds and did what I was supposed to do, but my world got really small. I lost the courage to put myself out there. I definitely wasn't living my best life. Getting back to last May, my start with Clubhouse. First days are always a little anxiety producing, will I be accepted? Will I fit in? I didn't fully put myself out there at first. I was quiet and guarded, just cautiously checking things out. But the staff made sure that I integrated into the work right away. And as I got involved in projects, it felt easy to come out of my shell. Work became the language to communicate with one another, and it was an antidote to the awkward silences of new relationships. Right away, I felt like I could take initiative and contribute my thoughts and ideas. I knew that I could choose to work in any team that I wanted, and it felt like the teams were sorely pushing for me to join their group, which was kind of funny. If I walked into a team, they would say good morning, they would try to engage me in a project. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good to be valued and wanted, where at first I was a little skeptical about whether I fit in. I knew I wanted to return after my first day, and now it's something that I look forward to. Clubhouse can be a great way to turn a bad day into a good one. Last month, I was asked if I would write an original song for the Academy's telethon, and then I was asked if I would agree to be interviewed about the process. I had never been interviewed like that or recorded a song in a studio. It was all new to me, and I was nervous. I knew it was a good opportunity, and I didn't want to let anyone down. Well, on the day that I came in to record the song, it was kind of a perfect storm. I had just learned that my brother, who had been critically ill for a while, had taken a turn for the worse. I had gotten almost no sleep the night before, and then I overslept for my ride. I threw mismatched clothes on and forgot my regular shoes, and then running to catch my ride, I dropped my phone and it cracked the screen. By the time I got to the Academy, I was anxious and nervous and not nearly as focused as I would have liked, with so much on my mind. But as soon as I got into the studio, all of that just faded away. Nothing mattered but the project. I forgot about all my problems and just had fun. Having the support of my Clubhouse allowed me to get out of my head and engage in something positive. It felt so good to be invited to do this. After my interview and song air at the telethon, I really felt like I had to earn respect that I fit in here. It broke the ice. Being a part of a Clubhouse community is unlike any other group I've been involved in. I don't feel judged here. My mental illness is not the thing that defines me or how people here would describe me. At the Academy, I felt like I'm valued for my skills and my strengths. My diagnosis is no big deal here. I feel like I'm already well on my way to one of my biggest goals, which is just to be able to work with and collaborate with other people. I have creative goals that involve writing and music, but one of my other goals is to work with children and help get them excited about reading. Reading has helped me open worlds for me, and I would love to share that with kids. Also, I would like to be sort of a leader that shows people with mental health that they can do whatever they put their mind to, even with a mental illness. Clubhouse has been such a confidence booster for me. It's helped to build my self-esteem to a new level and helped me to believe that all of my goals are within reach. So I wrote a rap song about my experience of Clubhouse that I want to share with you. Because I like storytelling, I've created a fictional character named Mike as the main character in the song. I hope you like it. Here it is. Clubhouse INTL. It's a place with the space to get well. Whatever you want to do, there's something here for you. Culinary, fusion, business, tech, or multimedia. A place where the grace is beyond outer space. In case you wondered, Clubhouse brings the thunder. The sun's bright and Mike fights for a place unlike any other. His mother has tried to pry open a community, hoping it would free his lost and can't cross back into society attitude. Excluded from the rest, yes, he's different, and he is on a quest to find a treasure to his chest. Now on a Monday, Mike Mama's calmly surfing the web and randomly comes across a gold pebble, instantly capturing her full attention. A suspension in her faith was now regained. Could this be a real for my only son? She said while being stunned. She called Mike into her home office and he marched in with a fist of many Hershey kisses. Mike, this is the place where you'll find true grace. What is it called? Mike said as he allowed the chocolate to crawl down his throat. Finally, a boat you can ride in. It's called Clubhouse International. Whoa, Mom, I think this could be the bomb we've been waiting to blow. Mike talks to staff before he walks into culinary to prepare a rare and extraordinary salad. A palette of vegetables laid out, the edible garnishes he plucked from the sunstruck garden. Pardon me, Mike commands, but it's been a while since a knife's been in my hands. He said, as the red tomato sat there fresh from the crop. Sure, Mike, you wanna nail down the veggies like this and go up and down briskly, she told him, and then continue to freely slice twice as quickly. His mood improves with his groove and time flies. Then everyone comes in to decide what they desire on the menu, the soup, the salad, or the pasta Andre. It slayed. They loved it. And that's what we call a successful day.
Wow. Well, hello, everybody. Again, I'm Joel Corcoran. It's hard to believe, but we've come to the end of our USA Clubhouse Conference for 2020. It seems like it went very fast to me. I don't know about the rest of you. I certainly love being together with all of you and hearing from all of you. There's so much strength in our community. In this panel alone, you know, I want to thank the presenters. There's some really exciting messages here. Part of my job is to take notes and try to catch some of the things that were said here. We do have recordings, so I can always go back and get it. But, you know, we started with Donna Marie, you know, painting the big picture for us about how there's a great need for clubhouses, and that clubhouses are a beacon of inclusion and change. And so to start that off, and then Senator Stabenow, I thought it was, you know, incredibly powerful for a United States Senator to recognize that clubhouses have found a way to continue to offer support and help people thrive. She gets it. She certainly encouraged us, and I hope we all heard it, to be involved in identifying people who are running for office and legislation that's going to help us in our work at clubhouses and help everybody with mental illness. She encouraged us to be heard. We heard from Andrew Sperling at NAMI, who has been a great friend to Clubhouse for many years, as has NAMI, as he pointed out. You know, he pointed out to us that the National Alliance for Mental Illness, you know, 14,000 people went to their conference virtually this year. That's impressive, but you know what? NAMI is a lot bigger than that. And Andrew told us that NAMI, for years and continues today, to be a great supporter of the work that you're doing every day. So I encourage you to get involved with your local NAMI office and to be connected to them. You know, Andrew talked about NAMI understanding the importance of social connection, and about the opportunities that are in front of us and that we can take particular advantage of clubhouses using technology, and about how we have a true commitment to taking care of each other. Andrew gets it. And one of the senior staff people at the National Alliance for Mental Illness gets what we're doing is important. You know, we went on to hear from Dr. Jeffrey Geller. What can I say about Dr. Geller? He has been an extraordinary advocate for clubhouses for a long time. And I lost a bet because I bet my staff that Jeffrey would tell everybody that Genesis Club was the greatest clubhouse in the world, because he always did. So today, Jeffrey, you cost me something. I forget what the bet was, but you cost me something. But he pointed out, the issues of uncertainty with stress and politics and healthcare and money and schools, and the election coming up to us. And he talked about the loss that we all are experiencing, and it's on our minds these days about ourselves and our family and our friends. And then he went on and changed that, and he used a phrase, I hope you all heard it. Jeffrey said that Clubhouse, he said, speaking on behalf of the American Psychiatric Association, he recognized that clubhouses are an oasis, and he recognized how fast you were all able to pivot and change in this pandemic time. In addition to that, he talked about the mixed model, which I hope you heard several people talk about that. That clubhouses now are offering sort of a mixed model of support, in person and virtual, and that is not likely to change anytime soon. When I heard Jeffrey read the APA priorities, I'm sure I was thinking the same thing many of you are. Those are our priorities too. Jeffrey challenged us, and I hope you all will take that seriously. He wasn't challenging the APA. I'm sure he does that too, but today he challenged you. He challenged clubhouses to engage with local psychiatrists, the psychiatrists in your community who influence the mental health system and who are working with your clubhouse members and beyond. He challenged us to talk with them, to invite them in, to go see them. So I hope that you'll do that. And then, we went on to hear from Dr. Ingrid Daniels from the World Federation for Mental Health. They're the ones who created World Mental Health Day, and they have been calling for more attention to mental health for years and years, and they've done a very good job over the years. But now they're stepping up their game, and they're asking us to join us. We are partnering with them. They're asking us to call on leaders to make massive investment in mental health. And we're being told in the clubhouse world that we do great work, that our voices count, but we're being asked to step up. We're being asked to do more, to raise our voices, to help get governments and leaders and institutions and communities to recognize that not enough has been done to invest in and support people's mental health, particularly people who are living with serious mental illness. So I hope you heard that message. Alicia from United for Global Mental Health, they're a relatively young organization, a few years old, but they are incredibly influential. They have raised a lot of money, and they are mobilizing campaigns across the world in low-income countries, middle-income countries, and high-income countries. They are getting to the United Nations, the World Health Organization, large corporations, and they are getting the message out. Alicia said they recognize that clubhouses are doing what it takes to help people on the ground. She also called on us to step up and get involved. So I hope we'll all hear this message today, because when it comes right down to it, the story that Terrell told, Terrell, your story was personal and special and moving and instructive to the rest of us about what really makes a difference, about why being included and being asked and being wanted and given the opportunity to contribute can change somebody's entire life and perspective. And I thank you for that. And your rap song was terrific. I really enjoyed that. It wasn't the first time I heard it, but it was terrific. And I hope everyone enjoyed that. As we wrap up the 2020 USA Conference, a couple of the key points that were made throughout the time was how quickly and how brilliantly all of you were able to adapt to the pandemic and continue to provide services and supports to everybody through this in new and exciting ways. But the message that came through from so many of the speakers was that we have to continue doing this. We have to do more. We have to use more technology. We have to get better at it. We have to figure out how, after the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders are over, how do we continue to reach the new people that have engaged with us, the members who have become more active? How do we use what we've learned to get better at what clubhouses do? I'm counting on all of you to come up with creative and innovative ways and let Clubhouse International know, so we can do our job and share your message and your stories and your struggles, but particularly your successes with everybody else so that we can become even stronger. You know, there are plenty of distractions for us today. You know, they've been listed throughout this conference with, you know, social justice and fires and money issues and election issues and leadership issues and all kinds of things on the agenda. And we could get involved in so many of those. And, you know, a lot of our clubhouses and a lot of you do get involved in those, and that's good. But for Clubhouse International and for your clubhouses, you know, it is so important that we remain focused on the things that we do really well. First, when it comes to supporting and strengthening our clubhouses, you know, the things that we know make a difference: building strong relationship, giving repeated opportunities, reaching out and including people who never felt included before, educating other people in the community about why Clubhouse works, strengthening our employment programs, our education programs, our boards. So I hope that all of you, in spite of everything that's going on, will double down on the basics of Clubhouse, increase your reach out, find a way to strengthen and include people in the work order day, even if it's challenging now with technology. And then we're also being asked to do more. And I do hope that at your on the individual level, at your clubhouse level, and amongst your coalitions, that you'll find a way to raise your voices and talk to the people who are in power and who are influential. We heard from several of them today, and they're begging us to get involved with them. So the theme of this USA conference has always been connected to advocacy. And I want to say to you now that now more than ever, we need clubhouses, and we need clubhouses to step up and raise your voices and be part of investing more in mental health. I want to thank you all for being part of this conference. 1,100 people, that's terrific. It's been great. We appreciate your time and the energy that you've given to us. I want to thank all of our presenters. There's been many of you from clubhouses who put in a lot of work for the plenary sessions and the workshop sessions. Thank you for that. I would like to thank and give a special thank you to Lynn and Shannon and all of our partners at Intuitive Conferences and Events. They've done a great job putting this all together for us. Our sponsors, Outska and Jansen, who gave us some money to help support all of this conference. And finally, I want to acknowledge and thank the incredible Clubhouse International staff who do extraordinary work for such a small group of people and are just busy day and night, weekends and holidays, making sure that we can do a good job at Clubhouse International, giving you the information you need. We have lots of plans for the coming year. We're going to have a world seminar one way or the other next year. We're going to be asking for your input and help on improving our standards. Our training programs are going to go virtual as well as in person, same with accreditation, and we're going to ask for your help in all of that. And so until the next time we hear from you, thank you so much for being part of us. And the 2020 USA Clubhouse Conference is coming to an end. No, it's not. I will be in trouble if I don't remind everybody about the dance party tonight. Please come and join us and have some fun. We always have a dance party at the end of a Clubhouse conference, and we will be tonight. So we hope you'll all join us. You can find that information on the website and the app, which again will be available for a year. So if we go back to a big gallery screen, I'd like to clap and see all of you clap, but I'd like to see your faces and clap for your participation. Thank you all.
Yay, Clubhouse.
Yay.
Good job.
Very well done, guys. Very well done.
Excellent job.